Super Mario Maker 2 has a lot of course parts, 91 to be exact, and in this part 1 video, I'll be ranking the first half of that list. If you're interested in seeing part 2, which will release sometime next week, why don't you subscribe and stick around so you know when it comes out? Anyway, here are the rules. First, the item must be available in multiple styles. That means I won't be considering style-specific power-ups, because as much as I like them, they aren't helpful when trying to create a comprehensive list. However, I will be considering style-specific versions of an item when it comes to its ranking, such as the Super Ball variation of the Fire Flower in the Super Mario Bros. Style. Second, because of that rule, I won't be including 3D World style items here. It's just too different. But let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me rank 3D World items, after I finish part 2 of course. Now that we've determined what items we will and won't include, how will we be rating these items? First, how many uses it has. All the items in Mario Maker are only limited by your creativity, but some undoubtedly have fewer possibilities than others. Second, how fun it can be to come across in a course. This is subjective, but don't worry, it won't come into play much in this list. Third, how interesting it is compared to the rest of the items. This is self-explanatory. We want something that's distinct and has its own identity. And lastly, how much it can interact with other items, with more being better. If you want, you can think of this list as, if it was removed, how much would it hurt the game? Last thing before we get into it, this list is subjective. I attempted to be as objective as possible, but that can be really hard, so let me know in the comments how you'd change my list, or if I was just really stupid and missed an important feature of a course part. Now that we've got all that baggage out of the way, let's get to the interesting stuff. The list. Number 91. Arrow Sign. This item has absolutely no use outside of decoration. Coins do its job of directing or misdirecting the player far better than it does, so all it really does is sit there and look pretty. Many parts have decorative value, but none except this only have decorative value. Number 90. 10 coins. I play the majority of my levels in Course World because I tend to enjoy grinding out Kaizo stages. My logic for putting these down at the bottom was that they don't actually affect the level in any meaningful way, instead changing things outside the level. But if you play Full Worlds or the Endless Challenge, take this bit with a grain of salt. Remember, it's just my opinion. Number 89. Hammer Bro. Now we're getting into functional items, but the reason Hammer Bro is so low on the list is because I actively dislike it, and I'm sure many of you do as well. Every time you jump toward one, it's a 50-50 chance whether you'll live or die. The only interesting thing I can think of for them is that Yoshi can eat the hammers and spit them out at a weird angle, but without these very specific circumstances, this guy is a pure nightmare. Number 88. Bridge. Now, I have nothing against the bridge, but compared to the semi-solid platforms, it's just not good at all. It's on the same layer as the ground, making it extremely limited when it comes to placing things around it. When it comes to decorations, this thing is also not nearly as versatile as semi-solids, so it's going near the bottom. Number 87. Ground. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, Danny's lost his mind, and while that may be true, I have good reason for this placement. Ground can be almost entirely replicated with slopes, which are higher up on this list. By that, ground is almost useless, and it wouldn't matter if it was removed. Number 86. Red Coin. I like the red coin and the opportunities that come with it, but the fact of the matter is, it's just not very useful. Most of the time, any levels built around them can be replicated with just keys, but these can be legitimately useful sometimes. It's just that keys can do everything red coins can, and more. Number 85. Fishbone. In water levels, these can be okay. Outside of water levels, these have almost no use. They interact with almost nothing and die right when they hit the ground, and even in the water, they aren't that great. Number 84. Wiggler. It's basically an angry trampoline. Looks fine in jungle levels, but serves next to no purpose with so many more interesting enemies. Number 83. Lava Lift. These are remarkably similar to normal lifts, but normal lifts have so many more options. When you have tracks and lifts, these are rendered useless. Number 82. Cheep Cheep. Similar to the fishbone, but have mild use outside of the water. They'll light on fire or get poisoned, but these are very niche cases and not super helpful. Number 81. Mushroom Platform. A good decoration, sure, but it's just a semi-solid that's not as good a decoration as a normal semi-solid platform. Number 80. Semi-solid platform. Better than the mushroom platform, but rather boring gameplay-wise. We have more interesting semi-solids in the donut block and cloud block. Number 79. Snake block. Snake Block is boring. It's either too fast or too slow. You can't make big ones. They make levels slower. Ugh. Number 78, Angry Sun. It's kinda boring and doesn't interact with much. Since this game is all about interactivity, that's too bad. The only interesting thing it has is that it follows the camera instead of the player, but that's not enough to save it. Number 77, Blooper. Yeah, these are okay underwater and in the air, and their alternate form with babies is mildly interesting, but these guys are still rather dull. Number 76, Skewer. Skewers have very little use when there are large thwomps in the game. They have practically identical hitboxes. The only thing the Skewer has going for it is that it can go upward, but that's not a big enough deal. Number 75, P-Block. The reason these fall so low is because, obviously, they fall victim to brick blocks. They can be good for decoration, and their intended functionality is alright, but they're far from interesting. Number 74, Super Mushroom. Our first power-up. The Super Mushroom is fine, but has no functionality outside of giving Mario an extra hit. Number 73, 1-Up. Originally, I put the 1-Up down at the bottom with 10 coins, but then I remembered that they became Rotten Mushrooms in the Ground Night theme. They're useful there, and you can certainly make an interesting level around them, but they don't affect the game in any other themes. Number 72, Banzai Bill. They could have made this destroy blocks or have cannons that shoot it, but nope. Banzai Bill could easily be called the Blandzai Bill. Number 71, Burner. Now we're getting to legitimately unique and interesting stuff. Burners can go on tracks, ignite the bombs, and provide an interesting challenge for Mario, especially in confined spaces. Number 70, Firebar. Rather similar to burners, but more customization options, such as length and they spin. Number 69, Bumper. Bumpers are actually pretty cool. I think the best part of them is that enemies can pass through, but Mario can't, making for some interesting puzzles. But their intended purpose is a bit bland, as they act similarly to springs. Number 68, Rocky Wrench. They're alright, but annoying. They have a cool gimmick of hiding in the ground, though. Number 67, Goomba and Galoomba. Originally, I had these even lower, but they make excellent enemies in basic levels, and in their big form, split between two smaller ones when killed, which no other enemy does. Number 66, Donut Block. These have a decent number of uses, from forcing people to go fast to having blocks drop and having to time jumps. Number 65, Lava Bubble. I wish there was more indication for where they would be. The level maker has to add some of that stuff, which can break immersion, but they have a decent number of options and their flying form is pretty unique, bouncing off walls crazily. Number 64, Piranha Plants. Similar to Goombas, these are great as regular old enemies, but don't have much use outside of that. They can spit fire at you though. Number 63, Pokey. Pretty basic stuff. Not bad, but it doesn't have much going for it. Number 62, Superstar. Now, I'm sure that some of you are surprised at seeing the Superstar so low, but it doesn't have much going for it. It makes Mario invincible and a little bit faster. That's it. Obviously, it has to be on a timer, but that adds limitations. Pretty much only good for Spike Maze courses, haven't seen it utilized well anywhere else. Number 61, Hidden Block. These are commonly associated with trolls, and not unduly so, but these have an amazing amount of potential, and I wish I saw people using it more often. These are basically reverse semi-solid platforms, and I hope somebody chooses to use it for good instead of evil. Number 60, Grinder. They're fine. Enemies can pass through it unharmed, so I guess that can be used to make a room only accessible by enemies. Also, Yoshi can bounce off of it. I guess that's cool. Number 59, Spike Trap. The most basic form of taking damage. Good underwater, good in speedruns, good in precision levels, and more. This block has quite a few uses. Number 58, Checkpoint. Gameplay-wise, checkpoints don't add much. Most of the time, you could just split a level into 2 levels without the checkpoint, and most people wouldn't know the difference. Plus, you can make checkpoints other ways, like a combination lock. Still, as a Mario staple, it makes levels more traditional and forgiving. Number 57, Spike Tops. Some fairly interesting enemies that stick to ceilings and crawl around. Not too simple, not too crazy. Good job, Spike Tops. Number 56, Magic Koopa. Ugh, I wish they made better bosses, but the quirks they do have make them interesting. They can transform solid blocks and have an element of randomness, so I'll rate them as such. Number 55, Lift. You can put blocks on tracks and get the equivalent of lifts, but I get it. These look nice, float independently, and can be activated by the player. Number 54. Coin. Some of you may have been confused when I didn't put coins with the 10 coin, but that's because of their alternate frozen coin form. Blocks that are affected by the fire flower? Yes please. This opened up a lot of new opportunities. And they can be transformed into brick blocks by P-switches. Number 53. Note block. Similar to trampolines, but not as versatile. However, they can drop items and can be used to make music levels, abilities which aren't really shared by any other parts. Number 52. Koopa Troopa. An excellent and versatile enemy that can be used in almost any situation. Seriously, just throw in a Koopa and your level will be that much better. Number 51. Chain Chomp. Between the multiple forms of the Chain Chomp, its ability to be carried by other mobs, and its post, which let me tell you is actually pretty awesome, Chain Chomps earn my praise. Number 50. Lakitu. Lakitu can throw down almost any enemy and item, and not only that, but you can use his cloud, which opens up additional movement options and interesting level ideas. Lakitu is pretty great. Number 49. Koopa and Fire Clown Car. Although these can be used as transportation and extra abilities for Mario, these are also great at adding some extra challenge and variation to boss fights. Number 48. Cannon. Ah yes, blocks affected by physics. I really appreciate that you can make these travel upward with conveyor belts. Very cool. Number 47. Monty Mole. These guys are great, especially for contraptions that you can build a level around, like the classic Monty Mole tank, or a closing hallway. They'll constantly follow Mario. Number 46. Cloud Block. Probably the best and most versatile semi-solid platform in the game. They can be destroyed by thwomps, and skewers are excellent for decoration and beat out regular old semi-solids because you can just put one at a time. These are really cool, and they even have cute underwater forms. What's not to like? And that's going to do it for part 1. Originally, I wanted to do all this in the same video, but there are so many things to go over that it would be way too long. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you want to see the next one, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you know when it comes out. Thanks for watching.